"Get your hands off my daughter." The words tore through Memorial Hospital's ER like a scalpel through flesh. Security officer Ronan Blaine slammed Dr. Darius Voss against the wall so hard his daughter's stuffed elephant fell from his backpack. Nobody knew that those same hands would be the only thing standing between a dying child and brain death. Have you ever been so completely misjudged that it could cost someone their life? Darius Voss's Thursday started like any other. Miles running through Atlanta's pre-dawn streets. Black coffee, surgical journals. He was reviewing pre-op scans for his craniotomy, a delicate aneurysm repair that would take hours of microscopic precision. Doctor. Darius Voss was the youngest department head in Memorial Hospital's history. Johns Hopkins Medical School summa cum laude. Neurosurgery residency at Massachusetts General. Published in The Lancet. His hands had performed over brain surgeries with a success rate that made other surgeons whisper his name with reverence, but none of that mattered when his phone rang. "Mr. Voss." The school nurse's voice was tight with controlled panic. "Your daughter Lila had a seizure during recess. She's breathing but unresponsive. Ambulance is en route." The surgical journal fell from Darius's hands. Lila, his 7-year-old, the little girl who wanted to be an astronaut, who made him promise every night that he'd always come home from the hospital. His hands, the same hands that had saved hundreds of lives, began to shake. Darius grabbed his backpack and sprinted from his office. No time to change from his workout clothes. Nike hoodie, joggers, running shoes. His BMW was in the shop, so he'd biked to work that morning. No time for that now. He ran blocks through Atlanta traffic. Horns blaring, people shouting. Darius didn't care. Lila needed him. He burst through Memorial Hospital's emergency entrance, chest heaving, sweat soaking through his hoodie. The same hospital where his name was on the directory, where his office occupied the entire northeast corner of the floor, where 3 surgical residents waited for him to finish their morning teaching rounds. But nobody recognized him. "Sir, you need to check in at registration," said the security guard at the door. A new hire Darius had never seen before. "My daughter Lila Voss. Ambulance just brought her." Darius pushed past him. "Sir, stop." The guard's hand clamped onto Darius's shoulder. But what happened next would prove that sometimes the people who judge you the fastest are the ones who need you the most, desperately. Nurse Nadia Foster looked up from her station and saw exactly what she expected to see. A large black man in street clothes, agitated, refusing to follow security instructions, trying to force his way into the ER. She'd been a nurse for years. She knew trouble when she saw it. Security. Nadia's voice cut through the ER chaos. "We need backup at the main entrance," Darius tried to explain. "I'm Dr. Voss. My daughter was brought in." "Sure you are," Nadia interrupted, her hand moving to the emergency call button. "And I'm the Queen of England. Sir, you need to calm down and go through proper channels." Darius's medical training kicked in. "Stay calm. De-escalate. Please just check your admissions. Lila Voss, 7 years old. Seizure at Riverside Elementary. We don't give out patient information to random people off the street." Nadia's eyes narrowed. "How do you even know that name? Have you been following that child?" The accusation hit Darius like a physical blow. 2 more security guards arrived. Ronan Blaine, head of ER security, assessed the situation in seconds. Agitated black male, expensive hoodie, probably stolen. Backpack could contain anything. Refusing to leave, harassing staff. "Sir, I'm going to need you to step outside now. My daughter's here." Darius's voice cracked, professional composure fracturing. "I'm Dr. Darius Voss. I work here. Please just work here." Nadia's laugh was sharp. "Sir, I've been on this floor. I know every doctor in this hospital. I'm chief of neurosurgery. Ronan, remove him, Nadia ordered. He's becoming belligerent. What Nadia Foster didn't know was that on the floor, Dr. Layla Chen was frantically searching for Darius. The 6-year-old boy had just been airlifted from a car accident. Severe head trauma, brain swelling, minutes from herniation. The only surgeon skilled enough to save him was the man currently being tackled by security below. Ronan Blaine's training was clear. Neutralize the threat. He grabbed Darius's arm, twisted it behind his back. You're done here, pal. Darius's backpack fell to the floor. Contents spilled across the polished linoleum. A small stuffed elephant, Lila's favorite, the one she'd left in his car, the one he'd grabbed before running out of his office. Please, Darius said, voice steady despite the arm wrenched behind him. Just let me see my daughter. You're not seeing anyone except the inside of a police car. If you don't calm down, Ronan forced him toward the exit. Other patients were recording now, phones out. This was content. White security brutally handling a black father. The narrative wrote itself. Nadia Foster walked over, picked up Darius's backpack, started searching through it. Let's see what we have here. Wallet, phone. She pulled out Darius's hospital ID badge, the one with his photo, his name, his title. Darius Voss, MD, PhD, Chief of Neurosurgery. Nadia's face went white. Ronan, she whispered. Ronan, let him go. What? Let him go now? But the damage was already done. And what nobody realized yet was that a child's life would depend entirely on whether Darius Voss was still angry enough to walk away. Ronan Blaine released Darius's arm like it had caught fire. Dr. Voss, we didn't. Darius straightened his hoodie, his eyes never leaving Nadia's face. When he spoke, his voice was surgeon calm, the tone he used before delivering devastating news to families. Where's my daughter, Dr. Voss? I am so sorry, Nadia stammered. Where's my daughter? Exam room 4. The paramedics just... Darius was moving before she finished. Through the double doors, down the corridor. Nadia and Ronan trailing behind. Apologies dying in their throats. Exam room 4. Darius burst through the door. Lila lay on the gurney, small and still. Dr. Valeria Jefferson, the ER attending, was checking her pupils with a pen light. Lila. Darius was at his daughter's side instantly, medical training evaporating. Just a father now. Baby, can you hear me? Lila's eyes fluttered. Daddy, I'm here, sweetheart. Daddy's here. Dr. Jefferson looked up, recognized Darius immediately. Darius, thank God, she's stable. Vitals are good. No signs of increased intracranial pressure. I've ordered a CT, but it looks like a febrile seizure, probably viral. The relief was overwhelming. Darius's hands, steady through countless life-or-death surgeries, trembled as he brushed Lila's hair from her forehead. You scared me, little astronaut. I'm sorry, Daddy, I didn't mean to. Not your fault, baby. Never your fault, Doctor. Jefferson touched Darius's shoulder. She's going to be fine. But Darius, what happened to you? You're covered in sweat. And she noticed the red marks on his wrists where Ronan had grabbed him. But before Darius could answer, the overhead PA system crackled to life with an announcement that would force him to make an impossible choice. Code Blue, Pediatric ICU. Code Blue, Pediatric ICU. Dr. Voss to PA CU stat. Dr. Darius Voss to PA CU immediately. Darius's body responded before his mind caught up. Years of conditioning. Code Blue meant someone was dying. But Lila, Dr. Jefferson saw his hesitation. Go, she said firmly. I've got Lila. She's stable. They need you upstairs. Daddy, you have to go save someone, Lila whispered, like you always do. Darius kissed her forehead. I'll be right back, I promise. He was running again, but this time toward the surgery, not away from it. The pediatric ICU was controlled chaos. Nurses running, monitors screaming. In the center of it all, a small body on the bed. 6-year-old Barrett Williams, car accident, severe head trauma. Dr. Layla Chen, the neurosurgery resident, looked up as Darius arrived. The relief on her face was palpable. Dr. Voss, thank God. CT shows massive subdural hematoma, midline shift. Pupils are blown. He's herniating. We need to get him to OR now or he's not going to make it. Darius's eyes scanned the monitors. Intracranial pressure spiking, blood pressure crashing. The child had minutes, maybe less. Page OR. Tell them we're coming now. No time for formal prep. This is a crash craniotomy. Dr. Voss? Dr. Chen hesitated. You're not in scrubs. I'm aware of what I'm wearing. OR now. What Darius didn't know was that Nadia Foster had already called hospital administration, and what was about to happen would expose a rot in the system that went far deeper than one security guard and one nurse. The OAIR team scrambled. They had Barrett prepped. Darius scrubbed faster than he'd ever scrubbed in his life, the iodine solution mixing with the sweat still drying on his arms from his run to the hospital. Dr. Chen helped him into surgical scrubs. Dr. Voss about what happened downstairs. Later. Darius's hands were steady again, back in his element. Right now, this child needs us focused. The operating room was Darius's cathedral. Under these lights, with a scalpel in his hand, everything else fell away. No race, just anatomy, just healing. Scalpel. The blade met skin, precise, controlled. Years of training guided every movement, but outside the OR, in the administrative offices on the floor, a different kind of operation was beginning. Hospital Administrator Valeria Walsh reviewed the security footage Nadia Foster had sent. The same footage now being shared in group chats throughout the hospital. The footage showing their chief of neurosurgery being physically restrained by security while trying to reach his sick daughter. Get me legal, Valeria said to her assistant, and find out who's representing Dr. Voss. Ma'am, Dr. Voss doesn't have representation. He's currently in surgery. Then we need to get ahead of this before her phone buzzed. Email from Nadia Foster. Subject: Media inquiry. Security incident. News stations had already called. Someone had posted the cell phone video online. Dr. While Black was trending, but the real earthquake hadn't hit yet. Because what Darius was about to do in that operating room would make this about something far bigger than one incident. Hours into surgery, Darius's hands moved with mechanical precision, evacuating the hematoma, relieving the pressure, giving Barrett Williams brain room to heal. Suction good. Bipolar, gentle. We're close to the sagittal sinus. Easy. Dr. Chen watched in awe. She'd assisted on dozens of surgeries, but Darius worked like he could see things others couldn't, like he was reading the brain's language fluently, while everyone else was still learning the alphabet. ICP dropping, the anesthesiologist reported. Down to 22. Good. Let's keep it there. Mannitol ready in case we need it. Another hour. The monitors showed improvement. Slow but steady. Barrett's brain, given the chance to heal, was responding. Closing dura now. Darius's phone, still in his backpack below, was exploding with messages from colleagues, from medical organizations, from civil rights attorneys. The video had gone viral. Views. But Darius didn't know any of that. His world was wide, bounded by the surgical field. A child's life hanging in the balance. Bone flap replaced, starting scalp closure. What Darius also didn't know was that in the ER waiting room, Nadia Foster was watching her career crumble in real time. But she was about to make a choice that would define everything that came after. Surgery complete. Barrett Williams was alive. Still critical, but alive. The odds had shifted in his favor. Darius pulled off his surgical gloves. The exhaustion hitting him all at once. The run to the hospital. The confrontation. Lila. Barrett. Hours of microscopic surgery. "Excellent work, Dr. Voss," Dr. Chen said quietly. "You saved his life." "We saved his life," Darius corrected. "Surgery is always a team effort." He scrubbed out, changed back into his street clothes, the same Nike hoodie and joggers that had marked him as a threat earlier. When he stepped into the PICU family waiting room, Barrett Williams' parents stood up. Young black couple, their faces showing the tracks of hours of tears. "Dr. Voss, your son made it through surgery. We removed the blood clot, relieved the pressure. The next hours are critical, but his brain is responding well." Mrs. Williams collapsed into her husband's arms, sobbing. "Thank you. Thank you so much." Darius knew this moment. He'd lived it hundreds of times. The impossible gratitude of parents whose child had been pulled back from death's edge. He's strong. He fought hard in there. "We saw the video," Mr. Williams said quietly. "What they did to you downstairs, and you still saved our son." Darius's jaw tightened. "Your son's life is not contingent on how I'm treated." "But it is." Mrs. Williams' voice cracked. "Don't you see? If you'd walked away, if you'd been so angry that you refused to operate, Barrett would have died. They almost killed our son by treating you like a criminal." The weight of that truth settled over the room like a shroud. And that's when Darius Voss decided that saving one life wasn't enough. It was time to save the system. Darius returned to the ER to check on Lila. She was sleeping peacefully, her CT scan clear, exactly as Dr. Jefferson had predicted. He was standing by her bedside when Valeria Walsh, the hospital administrator, entered with two men in expensive suits. "Legal team, doctor." "Voss, I'm so glad we caught you. We need to discuss." "I know what you need to discuss," Darius said quietly, not looking away from Lila. "You need to discuss how to minimize liability, how to spin this story, how to make sure the hospital doesn't face consequences for systematic racial profiling." Valeria's professional smile faltered. "Doctor Voss, that's not. How many other black fathers have been stopped by security in this ER? How many black doctors have been questioned about belonging here? How many black patients have received substandard care because someone made assumptions based on skin color?" The lawyers exchanged nervous glances. Darius finally turned to face them. When he spoke, his voice carried the same calm precision he used in the OR. "I'm not interested in a settlement. I'm not interested in a quiet resolution. I'm interested in systematic change. Dr. Voss, we're prepared to offer. I don't want money." Darius pulled out his phone, showed them the video. Views. Comments flooding in. Stories from other black medical professionals, patients, parents, a pattern spanning decades. "I want a complete audit of ER security protocols. I want mandatory implicit bias training for all staff. I want civilian oversight of security incidents. I want quarterly diversity reports made public. I want a black community advisory board with actual authority, and I want all of this implemented." Valeria Walsh's carefully maintained composure cracked. "Dr. Voss, those demands would require board approval, significant budget reallocation." "Then I suggest you start writing the proposal," Darius said, "because I'm holding a press conference with Barrett Williams' parents, with every black doctor in this hospital who has a story like mine, with the families of patients who were mistreated, and we're going to tell the truth about Memorial Hospital. That would destroy this institution's reputation. Good. Darius's eyes were steel. Maybe it needs to be destroyed and rebuilt. Maybe that's the only way real healing happens. But what none of them knew was that this conversation was being live-streamed by a nurse who'd quietly placed her phone on the supply cart, and the real revolution was just beginning. The nurse was Layla Kim. On the job, she'd watched the confrontation in the ER, watched Darius being manhandled, watched Nadia Foster's assumptions play out in real time. She'd stayed silent then, too afraid of rocking the boat, of being labeled a troublemaker. But watching Darius stand up to administration, watching him demand actual change instead of accepting a payoff, something shifted. Layla's live stream had viewers. Then. The comments section was on fire. He's demanding actual change. This is what accountability looks like. Every hospital needs to watch this. Local news stations were calling the hospital switchboard. National outlets picking up the story. Civil rights organizations releasing statements of support. Valeria Walsh's phone buzzed. Text from the hospital board chair. Emergency meeting. Be prepared to explain how we let this happen. That night, Darius sat in Lila's hospital room while she slept. Dr. Jefferson had admitted her for observation, though both physicians knew it was probably unnecessary. But Darius wasn't ready to take her home yet. His phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Interview requests, support messages, offers from civil rights attorneys, a personal call from the Surgeon General. But the message that stopped him was from Nadia Foster. Dr. Voss, I know I have no right to ask this, but could we talk? I need to explain. I need to apologize properly. I need to make this right. Darius stared at the message for a long time. His first instinct was to delete it, to let her career burn down around her. She'd earned it. But then he thought about Lila, about the kind of world he wanted her to grow up in, about whether revenge or redemption built better futures. He typed, "My office, the transformation begins." Nadia Foster arrived at Darius's office. She'd been awake all night. Her husband had urged her to get a lawyer. Her union rep said she should say nothing, but Nadia had watched the videos, all of them. Not just from that day, but dozens more that had surfaced. Black patients being ignored. Black family members being treated with suspicion. Black healthcare workers being questioned about their credentials. She saw herself in all of them. The assumptions, the bias, the casual certainty that she knew who belonged and who didn't. Darius's office was exactly what she'd imagined. Diplomas from Johns Hopkins, Massachusetts General, published research papers, photos of Lila, a shelf full of neurosurgery texts, and surprisingly, philosophy books. Doctor? Voss, Nadia's carefully prepared speech evaporated. I'm sorry. I'm so deeply sorry. There's no excuse for what I did. Darius gestured to a chair. Sit down. They sat in silence for a moment. Outside the window, Atlanta was waking up. The city Darius loved. The city where his daughter was learning that even her father's achievements couldn't fully protect him from prejudice. Do you know why I became a neurosurgeon? Darius asked. Nadia shook her head. Because the brain is pure. When I'm looking at an MRI, I can't tell if it's a black brain or a white brain, rich or poor, Democrat or Republican. It's just anatomy, just biology. In the OR, the only thing that matters is skill. He pulled up images on his computer. Brain scans. This is Barrett Williams, 6 years old. His brain doesn't care that I was wearing a hoodie. It just cares that I had the training to save his life. Dr. Voss, I want to make this right. I want to be better. Tell me what I can do. Darius studied her. He'd seen this before. The guilty white colleague, eager to be absolved, eager to prove they weren't really racist. But he also saw something else. Genuine anguish. Real willingness to change. You want to make this right? Help me fix the system. How? Tell your story. Not the edited version, not the one that makes you look better. The truth. What you assumed. Why you assumed it. How your training and biases led you to see a threat instead of a father, a criminal instead of a colleague. Nadia's eyes filled with tears. They'll destroy me. Maybe, Darius said bluntly. But people saw that video, Nadia. Your silence won't protect you. Your honesty might help prevent the next incident. I could lose my nursing license. You could. Or you could become part of the solution. Your choice. The press conference. Memorial Hospital's press room was packed. Cameras, reporters. Hospital administration had tried to prevent it, but Darius had simply rented a conference room at a hotel across the street. Darius walked to the podium, flanked by Barrett Williams' parents, by 3 other black physicians with similar stories, and surprisingly by Nadia Foster. Good morning. My name is Dr. Darius Voss. I was physically restrained by security while trying to reach my sick daughter in the emergency room of the hospital, where I serve as chief of neurosurgery. You've all seen the video. Today, I want to talk about what that video represents. He spoke about the systematic bias embedded in healthcare, the studies showing black patients receiving less pain medication, black women dying in childbirth at times the rate of white women, black medical professionals being consistently mistaken for janitors, orderlies, or visitors. This isn't about one bad nurse or one overzealous security guard. This is about a system that teaches us to associate blackness with threat, with incompetence, with not belonging. Then Nadia Foster stepped to the microphone. My name is Nadia Foster. I'm the nurse who called security on Dr. Voss. I want to tell you exactly what I was thinking in that moment. The room went silent. I saw a black man in street clothes, agitated, and I assumed threat. I assumed criminal intent. I assumed he was lying about being a doctor because my image of what a doctor looks like didn't include him. And I was wrong. Catastrophically, dangerously wrong. Her voice cracked. I am the product of a system that taught me these biases. That's not an excuse. It's an explanation. I'm here today because Dr. Voss gave me a choice. Hide from my mistakes or help fix the system that created them. She detailed Memorial Hospital's lack of bias training, the absence of diversity in leadership, the patterns of discriminatory treatment that had been reported and ignored. I'm prepared to lose my job for speaking truth today, but I'm more afraid of staying silent and watching this happen again. The questions from reporters were intense. Darius, Nadia, and the other physicians detailed systematic failures, and then the hospital board chair, Ronan Castellano, entered the room. Dr. Voss, if I may. Darius gestured to the podium. On behalf of Memorial Hospital, I want to announce immediate implementation of the reforms Dr. Voss proposed. Mandatory bias training, independent security oversight, community advisory board, quarterly public diversity reports. Additionally, we're establishing the Barrett Williams Fellowship for minority medical students, and we're creating a chief diversity officer position, reporting directly to the board. He turned to Darius. We're also offering you a position as Vice President of Medical Affairs with authority to implement these changes hospital-wide. The reporters erupted with questions, but Darius raised his hand for silence. Mr. Castellano, I appreciate these commitments, but I need them in writing, with specific timelines, with penalties for non-compliance, with community oversight, because I've seen too many hospitals make promises and too few keep them. You'll have it. Then we'll talk. Memorial Hospital's transformation was measured and documented. Every metric tracked, every change quantified. Bias training of staff completed with quarterly refreshers mandated. Security incidents down for patients and visitors of color. Patient satisfaction up among minority communities. Diverse hiring. Hospital leadership now people of color up from. The Barrett Williams Fellowship had accepted its first cohort. Black and Latino medical students fully funded. But the real change was harder to measure. It lived in the small moments, in the way security now asked, "How can I help you?" instead of, "Do you belong here?" In the way nurses questioned their own assumptions, in the way the hospital felt different. Darius still ran to work most mornings, still wore his Nike hoodie in the gym. But now, when he walked through the ER, people didn't see a threat. They saw their chief of neurosurgery, their vice president of medical affairs, the man who turned his own trauma into systematic change. The real ending. Lila Voss, now 8 years old, stood in Memorial Hospital's main lobby. The dedication ceremony for the new family support wing was about to begin. She held her father's hand as the hospital board unveiled the plaque. The Darius Voss Family Center, where every family belongs, where every person is seen, where dignity is universal. Darius's eyes scanned the crowd. Barrett Williams was there, fully recovered, playing with Lila. His parents had become close friends with Darius and his wife. Nadia Foster was there, now leading the hospital's bias training program. She'd found her calling in preventing others from making her mistakes. Dr. Layla Chen had just been promoted to assistant chief of neurosurgery, the first Asian American woman in that role. The hospital had changed. Not perfectly, not completely, but measurably, meaningfully. That night, as Darius tucked Lila into bed, she asked Daddy, "Why did those people treat you like that at the hospital?" Darius had thought about this question. How to explain systemic racism to an 8-year-old. How to prepare her for the world without crushing her spirit. Sometimes, sweetheart, people make mistakes. They see someone who looks different, and they forget to see their heart. They forget to ask questions. They forget that everyone has a story, like you had a story about being a brain doctor. Exactly like that. But you made them remember, didn't you? We all did, honey. Together. Good. Because people should remember that daddies can be doctors and doctors can wear hoodies and black people can be anything. That's right, little astronaut. Anything at all.